Right now, somewhere in the country, a woman is telling a man exactly how she feels about him. Not with words. Not with a text. Not with anything she'd actually admit out loud. She's telling him with 4 very specific parts of her body, parts she physically cannot stop herself from showing the second attraction kicks in. And here's the part that genuinely stings. About 90% of guys have no clue what they're staring straight at. They miss it every single time. By the time they finally piece it together, she's already moved on. But not you. Not after you finish this. So here's something that's going to permanently change the way you read every interaction you have with a woman from this moment on. A study published in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior found that women signal romantic interest mostly through nonverbal cues, and on average they fire off those cues about 13 times before the average guy even starts to register that something's happening. 13. She's basically waving a flag in your face in a language your brain was never taught to read. And I'm going to level with you here because I'm a woman, and I have personally done every single thing I'm about to walk you through. Most of us have. The catch is, we're not always aware we're doing it either. That's exactly what makes these signals so powerful. They're not strategy. They're not rehearsed flirting techniques pulled off TikTok. They're raw, automatic, biological responses that happen the moment a woman's body decides it's interested, long before her conscious mind has cast a single vote. So I'm going to walk you through 4 body parts that women instinctively reveal, highlight, or aim at you when attraction shows up. And I'm saving the most jaw-dropping one for last, the kind of thing where, once you see it, you literally cannot unsee it. It's going to rewrite every conversation you've ever had with a woman. But before we get there, you need to understand one thing. The human body is genuinely terrible at keeping secrets. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's well-known communication research showed that only about 7% of emotional meaning comes from the actual words we use. Roughly 38% comes from tone of voice. And a staggering 55% comes from pure body language. So more than half of what she's communicating to you has nothing to do with what's coming out of her mouth. She could be telling you about her commute, her job at the marketing agency, the new puppy her sister just adopted, doesn't matter. Her body is broadcasting on a totally different channel. And once you know where to tune in, you'll catch the signal every single time. Let's start with the first one. And honestly, this one alone is worth the price of admission. The neck. And I don't just mean she has a neck and you can see it. I'm talking about a very specific behavior pattern. When a woman tilts her head to one side mid-conversation, when she reaches up and lightly touches her neck, when she sweeps her hair off her shoulder so one side of her neck is fully exposed, that right there is one of the oldest and most powerful attraction signals the female body produces. Why does it matter so much? Because the neck is one of the most vulnerable spots on the entire human body. It's where the carotid artery, the jugular vein, and the trachea all run through a narrow column of soft tissue. Basically, every system you need to stay alive is concentrated in that one spot. From an evolutionary standpoint, exposing the neck is a trust signal. It's the body's way of saying, I feel safe with you. I don't read you as a threat. I actually want you a little closer. Dr. David Givens, an anthropologist with the Center for Nonverbal Studies, has documented this for decades. He calls it a submissive display. Not in the sense of weakness, but in the biological sense of openness and receptivity. When a woman slowly tips her head and lets one side of her neck come into view, her body is performing a gesture that predates spoken language by hundreds of thousands of years. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The neck is also packed with pheromone-releasing glands. So when a woman touches her neck around you, she is, without realizing it, activating those glands and basically pushing her natural scent in your direction. Her body is literally trying to make itself more chemically noticeable to you. She has no idea she's doing it. Her endocrine system made the call without bothering to ask her. I'll tell you straight up, when I'm talking to a guy I'm into, my hand wanders to my neck. I play with my necklace. I push my hair back. I never noticed I was doing it until I researched this exact subject, and then caught myself doing it to a guy at a Starbucks in Brooklyn. I literally laughed out loud, which threw him off, which killed the entire moment. But that's another story. The thing to look for is repetition. If she touches or exposes her neck once, it might be nothing. Twice, maybe a coincidence. 3 times or more in a single conversation. That is not random. That's her body lighting up a neon sign on Broadway. But it gets even more telling, which leads us right into the second body part, and this one most guys haven't even thought about. The wrists. Specifically, the inner wrists. I know that sounds weirdly specific, but stick with me because the science here is genuinely wild. When a woman is attracted to you, she'll start subtly exposing her inner wrists. She might rest her chin on her hand with her wrist turned upward. She might gesture with her palms facing you, wrists visible. She might lay her hands on the table with the soft side facing up instead of down. These are tiny micro-behaviors that happen completely below the surface of conscious thought, and they carry enormous weight. The inner wrist is another pulse point. Thin skin, visible veins, high sensitivity. In body language research, exposing the inner wrist falls into the category of a vulnerability display. When a person shows you the underside of their wrist, they are, on a primal prehistoric level, showing you a piece of themselves that's unguarded. It's the opposite of what you do when you feel defensive. Think about it. When somebody feels threatened or uncomfortable, what do? They cross their arms. They make fists. They turn their wrists inward to protect the soft side. Everything closes. But when attraction is in the room, the exact opposite happens. Everything opens up. A study out of the University of Manchester found that women in early-stage romantic attraction show significantly more open palm and wrist-exposing gestures compared to women in neutral social interactions. The researchers noted that the behavior actually intensified the longer the attractive person stayed in the conversation. Translation: the more time she spends near a guy she's drawn to, the more her wrists come out to play. There's also a chemical layer here. The inner wrist, just like the neck, is a key zone for natural fragrance projection. Perfume companies have known this forever. That's exactly why they tell you to dab perfume on your wrists and neck. Those are the spots where body heat hits thin skin and pushes scent out into the world. So when a woman is unconsciously turning her wrist toward you, her body is doing the exact same thing a Chanel ad would tell her to do on purpose. Except she's not doing it on purpose. Her nervous system is running the whole show. Quick real-life example. A friend of mine was on a first date with a guy at a wine bar in the West Village. She said the conversation was fine, not amazing, but she was very into him physically. She didn't realize anything until afterward, when she looked at a photo the bartender had snapped of them. Both of her wrists were turned upward on the table, palms open, basically aimed straight at him. She told me, "I looked like I was about to take communion at Massachusetts." Her body had completely surrendered to the attraction before her brain had finished deciding if she even wanted a second date. Spoiler, they went on 5. Now, if the wrist thing surprised you, the third body part is going to make your jaw drop because this one is the most obvious signal in the entire world, and almost every man I've ever talked to reads it backwards. The legs. And no, this is not what you think it is. This isn't about how she's dressed or whether she's wearing jeans or a skirt. This is about positioning, motion, and direction, 3 things her legs are signaling constantly whether she wants them to or not. Let's start with direction because this is the most reliable indicator out there. Joe Navarro, the former FBI behavioral analyst who spent 25 years reading body language for federal investigations, has said over and over again that the feet and legs are the most honest part of the human body. People learn pretty quickly to manage their face and their hands. Almost nobody bothers to control what their legs are doing, which makes the legs the body's worst liar in the entire courtroom. When a woman is attracted to you, her feet and legs will point at you. Even if she's standing in a group, even if she's turned slightly to talk to her friend on the other side, look down. Where are her toes aimed? If they're pointed at you, her subconscious has already cast its vote, and it's a yes. There's another leg behavior that's even more revealing, the cross. When a woman crosses her legs while sitting, and the top leg points toward you, that is a strong green light. She's literally angling her body in your direction. On the other hand, if she crosses her legs and the top leg points away from you, that's a barrier. She's quietly putting a wall up. Then there's something I call the restless leg effect. When a woman is feeling attraction, her nervous system gets activated. Adrenaline and dopamine start flowing. And one of the most common ways this internal chemical storm shows up physically is small, subtle leg movement. Bouncing. Swaying. Shifting her weight from one foot to the other. If she seems a little fidgety from the waist down, that is not boredom. That is her body humming at a frequency your presence put it at. A particularly bold signal, and one that's well documented in the anthropology literature, is the slow leg cross and uncross. Dr. Monica Moore, a psychologist who logged over 2,000 hours observing flirtation behaviors in bars, restaurants, and public spaces, cataloged this as one of the top nonverbal courtship signals women display. When a woman slowly crosses and uncrosses her legs during a conversation with a man she's attracted to, it's a deliberate, though usually subconscious, move designed to pull his visual attention to her lower body. It's a gesture that says, "Look at me," without a single syllable being spoken. I'll be transparent here. Every woman watching this just mentally rewound every first date she's ever been on to check if she did this. And the answer is yes, you did. We all did. Now, the fourth and final body part is the one I promised you at the start. The one you will never be able to unsee. And honestly, it's the most powerful of all four, because it involves the most vulnerability, the most subconscious exposure, and the most direct line to what she's actually feeling underneath. Her torso, the front of her body, the stomach, the chest, the center of her physical frame. And before your imagination runs anywhere weird, this is about orientation and openness. The science behind it is genuinely fascinating. Here's what I mean. When a woman feels safe, attracted, and engaged, she will face you with her entire torso. Not angled. Not sideways. Not with her shoulder creating a wall between the two of you. Full frontal orientation with her stomach and chest aimed directly at you. And this matters way more than you'd guess. The torso is where every vital organ in your body lives. The heart, the lungs, the liver, the stomach. From a survival standpoint, exposing the front of your body to another person is one of the most vulnerable things a human being can possibly do. It's why bulletproof vests are designed to protect the front, not the back. It's why every self-defense instructor in the country teaches you to guard your centerline. The front of the body is where life is most exposed. So when a woman turns her full torso toward you in a conversation, she's doing something profoundly meaningful at the biological level. She is opening the single most critical area of her body in your direction. She's telling you without words, without intention, without even self-awareness, that her nervous system has classified you as safe, desirable, and worth being open to. Research out of the Princeton Social Neuroscience Lab found that torso orientation is one of the strongest nonverbal predictors of interpersonal interest there is. Subjects who were attracted to their conversation partners displayed full frontal body orientation within the first 3 minutes of interaction. Subjects who were not attracted held angled or sideways positioning the entire time. And here's where it gets even more interesting. When a woman is attracted and comfortable, she doesn't just face you. She draws attention to her torso area. She might adjust the hem of her shirt, lightly touch her stomach, rest her hand on her hip, or lean forward so her upper body is just a little closer to yours. These are what behavioral scientists call ventral displays, showing the front of the body as a signal of trust and attraction. I had a moment at a friend's wedding reception a few years back that made this click for me permanently. I was standing in a circle of people during cocktail hour, and there was a guy across from me I found incredibly attractive. I wasn't really talking to him directly, but somebody took a candid group photo, and when I looked at it the next morning, everybody in the circle was angled slightly away from each other except me. I was locked on him like a satellite dish. My entire torso squared up, dead center on him. Meanwhile, my mouth was mid-sentence talking to someone 2 people over. My body had picked its team, and my brain hadn't even gotten the memo. That's the power of the torso signal. It bypasses everything. It doesn't care about context, social rules, or what she thinks she's projecting. Her center of gravity tells the truth, even when the rest of her is doing her best to play it cool. So let's tie these 4 signals together, because they don't show up in isolation. When a woman is genuinely attracted to someone, these behaviors tend to cluster. She doesn't just expose her neck. She also opens her wrists, angles her legs toward you, and squares up her torso in your direction. The more of these you spot at the same time, the stronger the attraction. Dr. Monica Moore's research found that women who displayed 4 or more nonverbal courtship signals in a short window were approached by men almost 4 times as often as women who displayed fewer signals. But, and this is the critical part, the women who were most successful at drawing attention weren't doing anything dramatic. They weren't shouting across the room. They weren't pulling some elaborate performance. They were doing exactly what I just walked you through: small, subtle, almost invisible body shifts that most guys write off as meaningless fidgeting. But it's not meaningless. It never has been. Every touch of the neck, every flash of the inner wrist, every angle of the legs, every square up of the torso. It's all part of a biological symphony that's been playing for hundreds of thousands of years. The music never stopped. Most people just lost the ability to hear it. And now you can hear it again. You know the four parts. You know what to look for. You know the science. The next time you're in a conversation with a woman and you catch her tilting her head, exposing her wrist, pointing her legs your way, and facing you with her full body, you'll know something she may not even know about herself yet. She is into you. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it? And actually, that question opens up something important. Because knowing she's attracted is only half the equation. The other half is knowing when she's ready for you to actually make a move. Specifically, the moment she's hoping you'll kiss her. And here's a fact that genuinely breaks my heart. Most guys wait too long. They see the signals. They feel the energy in the room. But they freeze. By the time they finally lean in, the window has shut and the spark is gone. That's exactly why I made the next video. It's called She Won't Say It, but her body already did 6 signs. And it picks up right where this one ends. If the 4 body parts one just walked you through tell you she's attracted, the 6 signs in that next video tell you she's ready right now, in that exact moment. Missing those signs is the #1 reason guys fumble a connection that was already in their hands. It's on your screen right now. Click it. Because the worst thing you could do with everything you just learned today is recognize the attraction and then do absolutely nothing with it. That next video makes sure you never make that mistake again. Go watch it. I'll meet you there.